Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to this powerful full moon in Aries. I apologize ahead of time if you hear me hacking. You can probably hear it in my voice. I am still recovering from probably one of the worst head colds I've had. So I've been kind of dealing with this for over a week now. And it's been brutal. I still have a cough, headaches and stuff like that, but I'm feeling a lot better, even though you can still hear it in my voice. But I really wanted to come on here to talk about the full moon in Aries. I've been kind of sitting with this energy to kind of see, okay, what really wants to come through for the collective at this time. And I've found the energy to be really interesting because even though it is a full moon and full moons are all about releasing what no longer serves, this full moon is in Aries, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is the warrior, the initiator, the leader. They're the first among the zodiac to really take charge and lead. So when we have a full moon in Aries, we get a mix of both energies, the need to release so that we can take charge. So that's really the energy I've been feeling for the collective at this time, is what do we need to release in order to kickstart that new beginning that we really want? And it's in realizing that sometimes when we want to kickstart something, we want to initiate a project, we first need to make room for that project to come to fruition. Right? So interestingly enough, I'm being shown a picture of kind of a garden that's been overweeded. So as much as Aries might have the vision of having a beautiful fruit or flower garden, you first need to clear out the weeds. You need to till the soil. You need to make things ready for your projects to really kickstart. So what I'm really seeing for us at this time is, what do we actually need to release once and for all so that we can actually start implementing the change we want in our lives and really going after our dreams and goals, because that's what Aries is here to provide us with that necessary momentum. And we're also going to be entering into eclipse season shortly, I think in a week and a bit or so. And it's interesting because in the past years, obviously eclipse season has happened on the Taurus Scorpio axis, but now the eclipses are going to be happening on the Aries Libra axis. So what I really feel coming through for the collective at this time is a deep focus on the self, but the self in relation to relationships. So right now we have the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. The South Node represents the past. It represents something we're leaving behind, but it can also represent something that we've mastered so that we're ready to experience the other side of the spectrum. And with the North Node in Aries, what I'm sensing for the collective is a bigger focus on the self at this point in time. Because seeing the shadow aspects of Libra, we can fall into people pleasing. We can cast ourselves aside. We can minimize ourselves and play small. And we can kind of really focus more so on catering to others as opposed to our sense of self. And it's easy for Libras, when they aren't anchored or grounded in their sense of self, to get lost in the other. So what I'm really seeing for the collective at this time, based on the full moon we currently have, as well as the eclipse season that's going to be upon us in a week or so, is really this need to release people pleasing, release putting the other first. And this is going to be very difficult. It might cause a lot of drama for the collective, because at this time, a lot of sensitive beings are in hermit mode. A lot of us have kind of pulled away to deal with our inner shit, but it's because we're going to be reborn into a more powerful sense of self. And Aries is here to help us step into that power with divine authority. Because in tarot, Aries represents the emperor, and the emperor is someone who knows who they are and they stand in sovereignty. They know their power and they wield it with confidence, not only for their well-being, but for the well-being of the collective. Because if you look at the traditional card of the emperor, sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of my tea. If you look at the traditional card of the Emperor, he holds a scepter and a sphere. And the scepter represents his divine right to rule. And the sphere represents the people he watches over and leads. So there's a big shift happening in the collective. I definitely see more of my sensitives, empaths, starseeds, whatever you want to call it, kind of shifting more into their sense of self and activating their inner emperor. And the best way for us to activate our inner emperor is to set boundaries. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries has been a theme probably for the little while for myself personally, and it's definitely a trend I'm noticing in the collective as well. So the best way to remediate people pleasing is to start setting clear boundaries, right? And understanding that whoever falls out of your life as you set these boundaries was taking advantage of you, did not have your best interest at heart, and you're probably better off without them. And I understand that this might cause a lot of pain. It might cause a lot of heartbreak, especially if these people are close friends, and especially if this person is a significant other you currently have in your life. Because as I said, with the energy of the full moon, the eclipse season that's coming up upon us, we're going to be called to really revisit our relationships. We're being called to really leave behind the shadow aspects of Libra. But again, remember that we have free will. You have the choice to change and to redirect your energy to be more in line with what Aries wants to bring in, or if you want to stay stuck in the shadow aspects of Libra. Because here's the thing, and I've mentioned this numerous times, but just as a reminder, we all have all 12 zodiacs within us. They're all somewhere in your birth chart. So wherever you have Libra in your birth chart is kind of showing you maybe where you haven't always been in your power, where you haven't always stood your ground, right? So there's a strong need to leave behind shadow aspects of Libra and allow ourselves to be empowered by the light attributes of Libra. Libra is the diplomat. They know how to look at both sides of something and then make a decision. Here's the thing, we often think that Libras struggle to make decisions, but that's simply not true. They struggle because they're not getting all the information. So we often pinpoint them as being indecisive, kind of flaky, and things like that, but it's just because they're looking to collect all the information. Libra is an air sign. They process stuff through the mind. They need to know both sides of something before they make a decision. And now as a collective, we're being kind of forced and pushed. And I'm saying forced and pushed because this is Aries we're talking about. We're not being gently guiding. We're going to be shoved and forced and pushed into better with Aries energy around us at this time. And it's an energy that if you try and resist it, it's going to make things worse for yourself. So you can either just let Aries shove you wherever you're meant to be, or you can resist and kind of start a war with yourself, right? Because Aries is the zodiac ruled by Mars, the planet of war, right? So you're either going to let yourself be forced into wherever Aries wants you to go, or you're going to start a war within yourself and possibly even with others, depending on the elemental polarities found in your birth chart. So, what does that mean? What I'm sensing for the collective in summary is that we need to leave behind Libra shadow aspects while embracing the light attributes of being open-minded, being discerning. One of Libra's biggest gifts when they are empowered is their capability of discernment. They are able to actually decipher the truth. This is a thing that Libras don't know about themselves. When they are truly in their power and their divine authority, they know when someone's lying. They can tell based on the way the energy comes into their mind and they process it. So we're being encouraged as a collective at this time to look at, okay, what hasn't been working in our relationships? Who's lying? Who's being dishonest? Who's taking advantage of us? Can we release them? You know, if you can release these people out of your life, I understand that that can be difficult to do. The full moon is here to guide us in knowing, okay, is that the action we need to be taking? if we can't release them because they're a professional relationship or whatever, okay, setting boundaries. And it's an understanding that when you start to set boundaries, the only responsibility you have is to make sure your boundary is clear as fuck. As long as you're communicating and you're communicating clearly, your responsibility is not how the other person receives your boundary. You just need to express yourself. As long as you do that and it is clear, mind you, the most important part is it being clear. If not, reiterate. If your boundary wasn't clear initially, take accountability, apologize, say, I apologize for not voicing this sooner or voicing this with more clarity, but this is how I feel about this. This is how I think about this, or I would appreciate more of that or less of this. And it's just about being radically honest. Because that's definitely one of the big pushes that's coming through from Aries is radical honesty. And this has been a struggle for the collective. And it's been a struggle. I'm not going to talk about people still in the matrix. I'm going to talk about awakened beings. It's been a struggle because, as I said, there's just still this patterning of people pleasing, of not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy and stuff like that. So it's kept a lot of us in the shadows. It's prevented us from actually embodying our light and stepping out onto the stage and doing what it is we're here to actually be doing. And it's something I've personally been struggling. If you haven't read my letters post, I basically bitch about that, you know, and it's realizing that that's okay. You know, like there's this whole thing of like love and light and bullshit, if you ask me, that's simply not true. If you are all about love and light, chances are you lack depth, you lack embodiment, and you lack integration of your shadows, right? So I feel as a whole that those of us that have been doing the inner work, that have been doing the shadow work, the integration and the work to embody, a lot of us are exhausted right now, right? Because you have the people that are still all love and light, that are in denial of the shadows that are going on and just tuning out and bypassing. Then you have the awakened beings actually doing the shadow work. And then you have another cluster of us that's still in the left field, kind of lost and kind of just floating and navigating, right? So we kind of have like these three kind of groups and stuff like that. And it's understanding that we need to come into alignment. And the only way to truly come into alignment is to A, be doing your work, holding yourself accountable, being responsible, and taking ownership for your shit. But understanding that, yes, life here is difficult. For some of us, our path is filled with more challenges, with more struggles, and that's okay. It's part of our path. It doesn't make us negative Nancy's or negative Nellies or whatever you want to call it. We are being authentic in our expression, and that is what the collective needs at this point in time. We need to be radically honest with what it is we are experiencing. It's not about sugarcoating or putting filters on whatever it is we are going through. It's about being real and authentic, and this is how we relate. This is how we connect, because there's depth there. There's emotionality, there's intimacy, there's vulnerability. People are wondering why things have gotten so superficial. Is because people lack depth. People aren't willing to be vulnerable anymore, or ever. I don't know. It's a question mark for me. But it's in realizing, as I said, with eclipse season around the road. I don't know why that wanted to come through. Eclipse season around the road, around the bend. We're going to have to revisit our relationships. Are we being honest? Are we truly expressing our heart? Are we truly expressing what it is we want to be doing? And I think for a lot of us, unfortunately, it's going to be a mix of yes and no, because it's a work in progress, right? Especially for a lot of us on the spiritual path. A lot of us are walking a path that is unconventional. And it's hard for us to find role models because not a lot of people are doing exactly what we want to be doing. And heck, there might even be no one doing what it is we want to be doing. So it's in acknowledging that you're not meant to walk a conventional path, and that's okay. And Aries is here to force you to keep walking that path and to no longer turn back to the collective that was using you, abusing you, and not respecting you. Aries is going to push you force you forward onto your path so that you can reclaim your divine authority and sovereignty and show it off, right? Aries is not a timid sign. They are out there. They're extroverted. They're intense. You know, they're opinionated. They speak their minds. And that's kind of the whole turnaround that I sense happening for the collective at this time. And no, for the record, I'm not a mother of any biological children. I view myself more so as a cosmic mother, where everyone is a child in my eyes, needing healing, needing love and support. But anyways, that was a segue. So, if you saw the previous post, for this full moon, I decided to really change stuff up. And I placed crystals on the astrological wheel. And I wanted to just see, okay, what kind of message wants to come through. Crystals have just become really... They've always been important in my life, but even more so lately. So they wanted to come through again today to support the collective. So I decided to just, as I said, place crystals in the astrological wheel. And you can go look at that post right now, see if there's a specific crystal that calls to you or not. I'm just going to kind of see what wants to come through. Like, there's no necessarily specific positioning or anything like that. I am going to follow the zodiac wheel so like that we know where I'm at in the wheel and stuff like that. But besides that, if I'm talking about a zodiac sign and you feel it applies to your life, it applies to your life. Trust yourself. And if there's anything I say that doesn't resonate, it's not meant for you. Just leave it behind. As I said, trust yourself. Use your discernment. Trust your intuition. You know exactly what you're doing. Trust yourself. All right, so we're going to get started. Okay, so in the first house, or Aries, we have one of my favorite crystals. Mind you, they're probably all my favorites. So this is pink garnet. That was in the first house, or Aries. And what I'm getting from this crystal, from the full moon, is to let your ambitions drive you. For those of you attracted to this crystal, a lot of you are so ambitious, but you've been putting your ambitions aside. And the theme, as I've mentioned, has been kind of the shadowy aspects of Libra. And I feel that a lot of you have been hiding your ambitions and your goals behind serving others. This could be family, this could be a loved one, this could be friends, where you're just like, well, I'm so busy taking care of all these other people, I don't have time to focus on my goals and ambitions. And I get it, you know, like I've often been stuck in that energy too, but pink garnet is coming through to support you. So you might want to get yourself a piece of garnet. Garnet is the birthstone of Capricorn. Capricorn is known as the ambitious sign of the zodiac. So if you want to get your ambitions in right alignment, you want to start taking action on those, sometimes all we need is a bit of support. And if you like crystals and that resonates, garnet could be helpful for you at this point in time. But yeah, main message for this crystal is it's about time you focus on yourself. Because it's first house also. It's the house of the self. So if you're not implementing boundaries, you're not making the time to work on your ambitions and your goals, Aries is going to fuel you and be like, let's go. And if you're into doing rituals or setting intentions, we're on a full moon. So tonight would be perfect for you to write down, I release X that is preventing me from pursuing Y ambition. Right? Because as I said, we have this mixture of needing to release so that we can take action. So I'm probably going to do this later, actually, because I need the support. Write down, I release whatever that's preventing you so I can do X action or what have you. So that's going to be very helpful for you. And to just, for some of you, write that business plan. If the only thing you do tonight or during eclipse season is write your business plan, do it. That's a great first step. you know, we often get overwhelmed thinking we need to be doing all these things. Writing stuff down is usually the hardest because it's starting. So write down your business plan, write down your offers, write down your ideas. And then maybe the next step after that would be to go for coffee with someone that you trust and bounce your ideas off them. They might help you tweak stuff, right? And like, that's the thing, because as I said, I feel as a whole, collectively, a lot of us are feeling burnt out. We're feeling exhausted. And then we have Aries being like, you need to take action, you know? So it's understanding that we don't need to do things alone. There's support around us all the time. We just need to tap into it. And something I've personally been doing more is tapping into the energy of the days of the week. Mondays are ruled by the moon. Tuesdays are ruled by Mars. Wednesdays, Mercury. Thursday is Jupiter. Friday is Venus. Saturday is Saturn. And Sunday is the sun. So if you need to take action or sit down and write that business plan, do it on a Tuesday. You have Mars there supporting you, backing you to take that action. If you need to answer emails and connect with people, do it on a Wednesday. You have Mercury supporting you. If you need more luck, optimism, expansion, do a ritual on a Thursday. If you want more love in your life, Friday. Saturday, you need help with your structure or your routine, write a to-do list on a Saturday. You want more sun, you want more fun, you want more play, talk to the sun on Sundays. There's support all around you, and when we're burnt out, it's about tapping into that support, leaning into it, because it's hard for us. Welcome to the space, sister. It's nice to have you here. I've just started doing the reading, actually, so your timing is perfect. What was I saying? Hello, welcome to the space. I was just saying how I just started the reading, and I was talking about garnet and how there's a need to tap into support when we're feeling burnt out. So the main message for this crystal, the main message for this crystal is business, is ambition, and understanding that, yes, we might be burnt out, we might be overexhausted as a collective, but there's support all around you. Tap into the days of the week, tap into planetary energies, tap into herbs, to crystals. There's stuff all around you. You just need to tap in. Work with power animals if that resonates also, you know, because that's the thing. When we're burnt out and we're exhausted, we can't carry ourselves, but we have beings, we have energies around us that can carry us. And our responsibility is to allow ourselves to tap into those. So for those of you that were drawn to garnet, it's all about writing that business plan, getting clear on your ambition and drive. Pull in Aries energy. You have Aries within you. We all do. Tap into Aries. Where does he sit in your birth chart? Where does Mars sit in your birth chart? Really get to know yourself and tap into the energies that are already alive within you, and that is going to support you to take that necessary action. All right, well, that was pretty intense. All right. So the second crystal we have is a beautiful tiger heart. Tiger's eye heart. Tiger's heart. Interesting that wanted to come through. Very interesting. Okay. I think it's because the full moon's in Aries, and Aries is all about the self. This message is also to do with the self as well, and I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be a theme for all these crystals. So there's a message that wants to come through for those of you that were attracted to this crystal, that you need to remember you have a heart of gold. Complete gold. And just because you have a heart of gold, that you're very kind, compassionate, giving, and generous, doesn't mean everybody deserves access to your energy. And Aries is coming through to say that for a few of you that have been drawn to this crystal, there's a tendency to overgive in order to gain approval, validation, and acceptance from others. And Aries is saying, you need to cut that shit out of your life. Because the energy you are, I'm going to say, wasting in these relationships in order to gain validation and acceptance are draining you. So for a select few of you, this might actually be just one person. If you've been feeling particularly drained lately, it's because you are overgiving to others and need to cut that back and give to yourself. Because as I said, this crystal is sitting in the second house, and the second house is ruled by Taurus. And it is a sensual house. It is the house of money, values, possessions. But I'm also getting a strong need for self-care and luxury, right? Because this is Tiger's Eye. So I'm kind of getting like low-key Leo vibes too, you know? Like there's a need to pamper yourself like the king and queen you are. And, well, that's interesting. Some of you that have been drawn to this crystal feel that you don't have enough time to engage in self-care, and Aries himself is coming through to say it's because you're over-investing in other people and you need to cut that down. Some of you, it's hobbies and just extra involvement where you're not leaving yourself enough time for yourself. And Aries is like, if you want your life to get better, you want your energy to increase again, you need to take care of yourself. And the right people are going to see you for your heart of gold and not take advantage of you, and understand and respect that you have boundaries and that you need time to take care of yourself. That's interesting. Anything else? Well, this is a specific message for those of you that like to do rituals, maybe witchcraft and stuff like that. Fire magic wants to come through. So as I said, we are on a full moon, so if you want to write intentions and then burn it, obviously it's Aries full moon, fire, that's going to be very supportive. And I'm also getting that, like, for those specifically drawn to this crystal, if you follow through and write those intentions and burn it, you're actually going to feel an energetic release. So for some of you that have been feeling that your energy has been tight and constricted, you're going to feel a breakthrough energetically, like tonight is what I'm getting if you do decide to do that ritual. So as I mentioned, because it's a full moon, it's all about release, but it's in Aries, so it's about taking action. So writing intentions where I release people pleasing so I can focus on self-care, or I release over expanding my energy so that I can spend more time by myself, right? So it's the intertwining of both those energies that are going to make your intentions that much more powerful. And yeah, that's what I'm getting for that crystal, which was very interesting. All right, we are now moving into the third house, the house of Gemini, where we have this beautiful larvikite heart also, which is really interesting. My phone's not really doing it justice, but like there's so many beautiful flashes in this crystal. And interesting. What I'm getting from this crystal is that for those of you that have been drawn to it, and again, I'm not sure why this wants to come through, you've been showing different facets of yourself to different people. And interestingly enough, what wants to come through is that that is what's causing your energy to drain. Is that not that you're not consistent with how you present yourself to others, but more so is that you're presenting a different kind of persona depending on the group you're in. And Spirit is coming through to say that it's time that you unify all these energies, you know. And the image that I'm kind of being shown, because kind of applies in my life, is just like if you're deeply spiritual but you don't show that side of yourself to anyone unless you're in spiritual groups, you're minimizing your energy, you're minimizing your impact and your power when you interact with other people. So let's say you're deeply spiritual, you know, and you work a regular 9-to-5 job, but like you don't crisscross the two of them, they stay completely separate. Spirit is coming through to say that it's causing exhaustion because you're kind of managing all these separate personas. And Spirit is saying that under this full moon in Aries, it's time you unify yourself as one whole being with multiple facets, but allowing those facets to shine and to come through without blocking them. You know, you might have instances at work where, I don't know, someone's like, oh, did you see the full moon last night? You know, and then you're like, oh yeah, it was beautiful. Take it a step further. Yes, the full moon is absolutely beautiful. Did you know it's in Aries and that it's a moment for us to release, but also focus on the action steps we need to be taking? You create a space for conversation and connection to happen when you become unified as a person, no longer ashamed or afraid of those different facets. So what's really coming through is unification of everything that makes up you. You shouldn't be hiding any part of you. Every facet is magical and has so much to offer, and you'd be surprised at the connections that come your way when you share who you truly are without blocking any facet to come through when it wants to. And I'll give an example, actually, because it happened to me. Was it this past week? No, I think it was last week. So for those of you that don't know, I also manage a property, and I had to go to Home Hardware and exchange paints. Anyways, it's been this whole debacle to get like a paint match. So I was there again for like, I think the third time, trying to get the right paint. And I was chatting with these lovely ladies. They're the same ladies that have been helping me every time, and I really clicked with them. And I noticed they were wearing crystal bracelets. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say something. So I complimented both of them, and they appreciated the compliment. I said, I love your bracelets. And then I followed up with, are you girls into crystals? And one of them said no, but the other one lit up and said, yes, I love crystals. And we exchanged business cards. But that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't allowed my spiritual facet to come to the table. Right? And we often hold ourselves back out of guilt and shame. And it's an understanding that we foster connection when we are authentic, when we're genuine, and when we don't hold back. So that's the main message that wants to come through for this crystal. It's time for you to unify all your facets into one beingness and to allow yourself to show up however you want to show up. If you're seen as weird at school or at work because you're starting to talk about your passions, your interests, how other people view you and receive you doesn't matter. You're being authentic, and through your authenticity, you're going to attract the people that are meant for you. Because as I said, we're in the third house right now. The third house is about local community. You want to attract that community, you need to be a pillar of truth and authenticity. And you can only do that when you unify all your facets and stop hiding certain of them because you're ashamed or you're afraid of judgment or criticism. Wow. Well, that was really interesting. So that's all I'm getting for Larvikite. We're now going to move into the fourth house of Cancer. So fourth house Cancer, or this beautiful rose quartz crystal. If you were drawn to this, this is going to be your message coming through. Okay, well, this is really interesting. So I'm getting a lot of heartbreak energy that wants to come through. So with this crystal, I'm sensing that a lot of you, and I'm already hearing it, like, why me, are feeling like immense heartbreak and burnout in regards to what you've been doing, relationships and stuff like that. And like, there's a strong kind of why me energy that I'm sensing. And interestingly enough, what I'm really getting is just victim energy. And it's understanding that when it comes to the victim, we can either be in the shadow aspects of the victim or the light attributes of the victim. And the shadow aspects of the victim is clearly disempowerment and being like, why me? Whereas the victim helps us to empower ourselves and shed light where we feel powerless and how we can reclaim that power. So, for those of you attracted to this crystal, there's a big need to release this energy. What I'm really feeling, as I said, is this heartbreak energy. And I'm feeling that, like, because we are in the fourth house of Cancer. So Cancer, fourth house, whatever resonates, this crystal. Cancer is also ruled by the moon, and we're in a full moon. And full moons are all about release. So for this group in particular, there's a need to release. And I'm feeling it being emotional. So either crying, yelling, punching a pillow, what have you. For some of you, creating art and stuff like that might be supportive, but I'm really feeling there's a need to get that emotionality out, because a lot of you have kept it bottled up, and this full moon is like, I'm here to support you to release it. Yeah, a lot of you, this heartbreak I'm sensing is just heartbreak in regards to the world in general, but also heartbreak in relations to past relationships, past friendships, past opportunities that haven't worked out. And all this energy has just been bottled up. Like I feel it in my body. So there's a huge need to just let go, release, and this is going to depend on your relationship with your emotions and stuff like that. But if you find it hard to express your emotions and to allow yourself to cry or to be vulnerable, understand that this energy has just been blocked and kind of compounded within your body. So I wouldn't be surprised if your body hurts, if you have aches and pains. And it's this energy that needs an outlet that hasn't been getting it. So for those of you that have a challenging relationship with your emotions, feeling into them can be difficult. It can be difficult, some of you might be like, Leah, how do I just let myself cry? So for those of you that have a challenging relationship with your emotions, start small. Like a lot of people think in order to feel that you can sit down and journal, but no, journaling is good once you've processed, once you've felt your emotions, right? It's kind of like the wow, I can't even say that word. Intellectual kind of process after we've felt, right? But you need to feel first, because some of us might sit down at a journal and be like, I don't even know what to write, right? So if that's you struggle to even journal about how you're feeling, your emotions are blocked even further. So the best way to clear this, and if this is supportive for you, you can either listen to guided meditations where the guide offers Reiki to kind of help clear you energetically. If it feels even more supportive, go work with a Reiki practitioner, book a session with a energy healer and stuff like that to really get this energy block, because I'm feeling it and it's very constricted. So you can do it by yourself if that resonates, but if you feel the need to get support, get support. Set the intention tonight that you call in the right healer for you and that they just manifest in your life or what have you and stuff like that, because the full moon is here to help you. If you've been carrying a lot of emotional baggage, tonight is time for you to actually sit down and deal with it. If you live with people, try and find some time by yourself, go for a walk. And if you can, sit beside a body of water. Water represents our emotions. So really kind of connect with that element. And if you can't get to a body of water, either listening to water, so just like a soundtrack of like waves or rain and stuff like that, or taking a bath or taking a shower, and really connect with the element and call forth the element of water within you and be like, water, I want to connect with you. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so ritual for you guys that this is resonating is a letter to yourself, apologizing for all the times you suppressed your emotions. So just start like, dear me, I am sorry for all the times I swallowed back my tears. I am sorry for all the times I suppressed my pain to keep the peace. And just write that way, and you're going to kind of open up a portal for yourself to start connecting with your emotions again. Your emotions, in order for them to be expressed, need a sense of safety. Yes, some of us can be volatile with our emotions and they can just come out of nowhere. But for those of us that struggle to connect with them and that have suppressed them deeply and repressed them, it's going to take some time for them to really come up to the surface. So writing just like a letter to yourself tonight with the blessing of the full moon, and yeah, just kind of own up for all these moments that, welcome to the space, sister, all these moments where you kept yourself quiet, right? Because our relationship with our emotions is like any relationship. it takes work. And if you've never had a relationship with your emotions, it's not going to be developed over time. It's going to take effort on your part to connect with that part. And getting rose quartz. Hello. Getting rose quartz might be very supportive for you as well. And it's interesting because I'm really getting like heart chakra energy for this pile, and the need to connect with your sense of self-love and self-care. And if that's been a struggle, this moon is actually here to support you, you know. And it's interesting because even Aries is coming through to be like, I will be that masculine support that comes through and allows you to take better care of yourself. So if you're struggling, this crystal is coming through to say either a divine masculine is going to come through and support you. So this could be a physical person, or this could be an activation of your own divine masculine being like, you know what? I will hold the space for you, my lady. Feel those emotions. You are safe with me. Because safety starts with our sense of self. And this crystal is saying it's time you develop that sense of safety and you let yourself feel. Whew, that was heavy, I feel, for that crystal placement. Let me know how that resonates. If it resonates for any of you, I would be very curious to know. All right, so we are now moving into the 5th house, Leo, Lepidolite. And I'm getting, for those of you that were drawn to this crystal, that like you're loving this full moon energy. A lot of you are kind of like getting a high off of it. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised. Leo is also a fire sign, so I see Leos, for the most part, thriving under this full moon for the most part, and just kind of relaxing and taking it easy and having fun. Same thing for like my Sages also. So my fire signs are, for the most part, doing okay with this full moon. And it's really a chance for you to relax and unwind and let your creativity shine and come through. So if you want to just connect with like a friend where you can have like a philosophical kind of debate or discussion with and stuff like that, like feel free to do that. If you're feeling called to create, make art, go to a workshop and stuff like that. Even over the weekend, my fire signs as a whole are kind of getting a re-up on their creativity. So wherever you have fire in your chart, essentially, is going to get like an extra kind of fuel of momentum. And it's understanding that Lepidolite is good to provide calmness, to reduce nervousness and anxiety. So I'm kind of seeing a big release of those energies. So if you've been feeling nervous, you've been feeling kind of stressed or anxious, that's being released at this point in time. A lot more relaxation is coming through under this full moon for you. And that's pretty much it I'm getting for this crystal. Interesting that this one was very short and to the point. Y'all are feeling relaxed, or are going to feel relaxed if you haven't been. And as I said, anxiety, stress, worries are going to be clearing out of your life. If you're like, Leah, I don't feel that way, write your intentions and burn them. Because we are on a full moon. So if you have specific worries or anxieties about something, right? I release my anxiety in regards to my soul calling so that I may show up fully, for example. Or I release all my worries in regards to my finances and money flows to me effortlessly. Because we have the full moon supporting us. We have Aries supporting us powerfully. And we have Lepidolite easing us into our manifestations, which is actually really supportive. It's really interesting. All right, so we're moving on to the next one. So this apparently is moonstone, but I mean, it came in a pack. I'm not that much of a crystal expert, but we're just gonna roll with it. I'm gonna kind of see it more so as like a peach moonstone. So Virgo or 6th house placements, peach moonstone. I'm seeing, this is really interesting. A need to kind of be lavish with yourself is what this full moon is kind of illuminating for yourself. So if you've been kind of pinching pennies and holding back, splurging on yourself, this crystal is saying it's time you kind of spend on yourself. You know, within reason, of course, but like, when was the last time you did something just for you? You know, like sometimes, and as I've talked about, like the collective's energies, there can be this hyper fixation on the other. So we're like, when we create, we're like, well, what are other people going to think about this? What is my spouse going to think? What are my friends going to think? And it's, no, shut up, that energy. It's not about that right now. Virgo, 6th house, moonstone, it's about you. What do you want to be creating? What do you want to be doing? What do you want to buy or make yourself feel pretty, make yourself feel good? Whatever it is, obviously Virgo likes to organize and keep things clean. If it's a set of, I don't know, organizational things, by all means, get it. You know, you have the full moon right now to support you in this. And it's, as I mentioned, about releasing what's no longer serving. And if you're like, why I'm releasing, I don't know, I'd be surprised, but like, this part of my house being cluttered, so I allow myself to purchase X thing that will make my life better, right? So things like that, and just really calling in more support for yourself is what I'm seeing with this crystal. And yeah, just the need to be more gentle with yourself too. So if you've been really hard on yourself and like grinding, it's time you take a break and you relax. Because full moons are also about resting and recharging. All right, that's all I'm getting for that one. So we're going to move into the 7th house / Libra / this citrine crystal. So if you were drawn to this crystal, or your Libra or 7th house placements are illuminated for you at this point, this is going to be your message. All right, so what I'm really getting for Libra energy and this crystal is, whether you're in a relationship or you're single, you need to realize that you are an expensive person. And expensive in like the best kind of way, you know, like you have an expensive soul and persona, and like you deserve the best is what this full moon is illuminating for you. And it's interesting because we're in Libra right now, you know, the house of Libra, and it's a full moon in Aries. So you're really getting that Aries like pushback, being like, babe, you are hot, you are amazing, you are exquisite, own it. Stop selling yourself short. Stop self-sabotaging, thinking you're not good enough, you're not attractive enough. You are. You are this beautiful golden gem. It's interesting. Aries is coming through to be extremely adamant about that. Be like, you are hot. Stop doubting yourself, okay? Release the bullshit, the hate, and stuff like that. And Aries is coming through to be like, write a love letter to yourself, releasing the bullshit. Like, I release hating my body so that I can work on embracing more self-care. Or I release the need to compare myself to others so that I can step into my own uniqueness. Right? So Aries is actually really fueling this house right now. And being like, enough, you know? Like, start showing up like this golden gem. Like, if you were made of pure, sparkly gold, how would you be showing up in the world? This is what Aries wants you to know. Show up as this golden gem and watch how your life changes. And it's interesting because Aries is really coming through to be like, you're your own main character. Start owning it. Release the need to people please and put others first. Become your own character, you know? Don't become codependent. Don't lose yourself in others. Stand up for yourself and watch the world bow at your feet as you do so. That was really interesting. Okay. That's all I'm getting for that crystal. We're going to move on to the next one. Now, for the life of me, I cannot remember what this one is. So I'm just going to call it Mystery Crystal for the time being. And we're now in the 8th house, or Scorpio, or this crystal if you were drawn to it. So already, there's a sense of mystery since I can't remember what this crystal is. And being in the 8th house, Scorpio energy, I can't say I'm surprised. But this full moon is coming through to say it's time you show your true self. Because obviously Scorpios are known to be very secretive and to hold stuff back. And they don't always hold stuff back to be malicious, you know? Sometimes it's just, I don't know if like the camera's doing it justice or not. Yeah, it has flashes of blue in it. I really can't remember for the life of me what it is right now. It's more of a blue, I'd say. Yeah, definitely more like a blue flash going on in it. And yeah, there's a need for you to just own who you are. Yeah, maybe it's a rainbow moonstone. You might be right, actually. Yeah, because I definitely seem to remember it's a type of moonstone, I think. I don't know. I'd have to find the paper. Yeah, that's also was my impression and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know, but I feel like it might be a moonstone. But yeah, there's a need for you, and it's similar to Gemini, but different, to own who you are and to actually reveal who you are, because you're fucking cool. But you're not allowing people to fully see that side of yourself, you know? Because that's the thing. Scorpio, and again, they don't do this to be malicious by any means. It's just energetically how they're coded to hold stuff back. And the full moon is like illuminating your weird sense of self, you know, and to just show your uniqueness. So as I said, similarly to Gemini, and if that resonates, go watch that part on Gemini, which was the larvikite crystal. There's an unveiling happening for you, Scorpio. And I know that can sound scary because Scorpio likes to live in the shadows, but it's about time for you to own who you are. And your kind of brother, Martian brother, Aries, is like, yo, what are you doing? It's time for you to stop hiding and really reveal how powerful you are, how magnetic you are, and how you have ingenious ideas that you're just keeping to yourself because you're just like, oh, like, what's the point and stuff like that. And Aries is coming to push you, being like, bro, get it together. Put yourself out there, you know, own who you are. Share those weird, outlandish ideas, you know, especially if you're looking for a business partner. If you don't share what you've been up to or what you're working on for fear of how people are going to receive it, or if they steal your ideas and all that crap, you're not going to connect with anyone. You're not going to draw in those people because you're hiding who you are and what you're capable of. So this full moon in Aries, and yeah, Aries is here applauding you and kind of bowing down to you, Scorpio. Show the world what you're capable of. Stop hiding. Unveil your true self, and don't be afraid of the potential backlash or criticism and stuff like that. You know, and just know that, hey, if you're triggering haters and you're getting people like that in your comments or whatever DMs, you are doing something right, okay? You don't just trigger people out of nowhere. You usually trigger people because you're doing what you're meant to be doing. Usually. Take that with a pinch of salt. Use your discernment. Don't come back to me and be like, Leah, I just stirred all this shit and all this. No. You are responsible for yourself, not me. Use your discernment. But yeah, it's time for you to just really show up and unveil yourself, Scorpio, during this full moon. Anything you've been hiding, any sense of power, you know, because like that's the thing. And like I've always talked about this a lot. We're not afraid of being powerless. We're afraid of being powerful because we've seen a lot of people misuse power. But it's an understanding that the misuses of power that we've seen, like to me, they're not necessarily true expressions of power. True expressions of power can only come from your soul, from your heart, and emanates from these places within ourselves. You know, so to be powerful means to be completely in alignment with your authentic self. It means you're not hiding. You're no longer operating from guilt or shame. And you operate in a way where you hold yourself accountable. You're responsible. You're not afraid to take ownership for your actions. And real power is exactly that. When you fuck up, you own it, and then you change your behavior, right? Because if you're just saying, I own it by apologizing, yet you keep doing the same bullshit behavior, you're manipulating people and you're gaslighting, right? And we don't want that. So in order to be powerful, we need to be accountable. And that means taking ownership for the fuck ups we do, because we're not perfect. We all fuck up. Saying, I'm sorry, and here's how I will change and not do that in the future, right? And that is power, people. It's that simple, yet people struggle so much with that. And that's why a lot of people are not in their power, because they're not able to take accountability for their actions and then change. So as soon as you do that, take accountability and change. When you fuck up, you're already set on being more in alignment with your power. And then it's just being powerful and realizing that you will take up space. You know, for people that are still hiding, for people that are still disempowered, you are going to threaten them. You might terrify them. For people seeking to be empowered, you're going to inspire them. And this is where you need to focus your energy, on the people you inspire, not on the people you intimidate or fear. The people you inspire is going to help you to keep going when you're feeling low. Interesting. All right, so that's all that wants to come through. We are now going to move into the 9th house, or Sagittarius, where we have this beautiful chevron amethyst. So again, similar to the 5th house / Leo / the lepidolite crystal, I'm getting laid back energy from this crystal, like fire signs, I think, for the whole, except for the first one, actually. Aries was intense. Now that I'm circling back. But chevron amethyst is saying, like, chill, have a good time on this full moon and relax. You know, like, have fun. Don't take things too seriously. And yeah, there's just like a need for those of you that are attracted to this crystal to just connect with community and just like exchange and have a good time. And release having to figure stuff out, you know, because with Sagittarius energy, it is the seeker, and we can kind of get caught up in constantly seeking and wanting to go explore new horizons. And this crystal is saying everything you've ever needed is right here. You just need to come home back to your sense of self and be okay. And I'm getting a kind of rise of anxiety, you know, for those of you that might really resonate with Sagittarius energy. But like, I have this travel plan trip, or have this plan, and that's okay. But sometimes traveling and constantly moving is masking something. And the full moon's coming through to say, Sagittarius, what are you masking? What are you running away from with your travels and your trips? What would you actually be forced, because we have Aries energy, what would you be forced to acknowledge about yourself if you stood still and really contemplated where you are in your life? So chevron amethyst is coming through to be like, Sagittarius, yes, have fun and chill out, but like, take the time to relax and unwind and just focus on your sense of self. Are you truly happy with what you're doing? If you are, that's great. But if you dive even deeper beneath the layers and realize that you're not, that's okay. You still have time to deal with that unhappiness that you've kind of just been hiding and suppressing through your travels or just escaping and shit like that. And chevron amethyst might be helpful to you if you resonate with this crystal, getting a piece of this. But it's more so a need to practice presence also, and presence with your sense of self. So even though this is like a crown chakra related crystal for the most part, getting black or red crystals is going to be supportive to you, Sagittarius, in terms of kind of bringing your energy back into your body. Because like, that's the thing, when we're talking about Sagittarius, we're talking about the 9th house, the energy is very expansive. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is the expansionist. So the energy is really big and kind of out there, but the full moon is saying, how have you kind of neglected parts of yourself with being so focused on being out there? The full moon is being very gentle with you and being like, come back to your sense of self. And even Aries is like, bro, it's okay. You know, if you want to completely change your sense of self too, if the full moon illuminates and you're like, holy shit, what I've been offering or doing isn't even in alignment with who I truly am at my core, that's okay. You know, we have the eclipse season around the corner coming through. Big shifts and changes are going to be happening, you know, and if you can get ahead of this and really start to tap in and see what's coming for you, you're going to be a lot better for it. And you're going to be a lot more relaxed too. It's not going to be as stressful. Because that's the thing with eclipse season, these are fated events that just kind of happen. It's destiny that's like, yo, you are not in alignment. I'm going to get you in alignment and put you over here. And we got Aries being like, push this motherfucker so they get on the right path, right? So Sagittarius, you're kind of getting whatever comes up for you today is going to be a glimpse into what it is you're supposed to be doing. So if you could just allow yourself to shift and realize that you might need to change what it is you're currently doing, you're going to be the better for it. And I'm seeing like a surfer just surfing this gigantic wave effortlessly. Kind of easier than the rest of the zodiac, actually, is what I'm seeing for Sagittarius. All right. So that's what I'm getting for that crystal. We are now going to move into the 10th house and or Capricorn, or this Fool's Gold crystal. So if you were drawn to this crystal, this is going to be your message. All right, let's see. Okay, interestingly enough, Aries is coming through to just give props and like high five to Capricorn, being like, yo, like you've been working, and like he kind of applauds you for that and commends you for the work you've been doing. So he's like, bro, as much as people might not have been acknowledging you or giving you the necessary credit for all the work you've been doing over the past few months, Aries is coming through to be like, yeah, like you've been doing the work and stuff, and like, good job. Which is really interesting. Aries loves you. Okay. So this might resonate for a few of you. Either if you're a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or have intense Capricorn placements, there's an Aries that's in love with you that wants to come through, which is very interesting. They really admire your work ethic. They admire your character and how you carry yourself. Interesting. I did not think this is going to become a love reading for this placement. Anyways. And yeah, basically, Aries is in love with you. You can do no wrong in their eyes. They're just like, keep doing your thing. Which is interesting. I think this is probably the shortest message that wants to come through. Like, Capricorn, keep doing your thing. Whatever it is you're doing, you're exactly what you need to be doing right now. Don't let the haters get in the way. Don't let your self-doubt or self-esteem issues get in your way. That's the one thing Aries is really stressing and highlighting, and be like, yo, there's no point in you self-doubting yourself anymore or having self-esteem issues, okay? Like, I know this is fool's gold, but Aries is like, focus on the gold part. You know, Capricorn, like, you are gold in this lifetime. You know, allow yourself to be seen for these aspects of yourself, to lead, to guide, to teach, to innovate, to start, to create. And Aries is like, take my hand. If you're struggling to start because you're overwhelmed with self-esteem, Aries says, take my hand and I will fuel you. So tap into Aries wherever Aries is, and or Mars in your birth chart, because both of those energies are coming through. And if you're into doing rituals or witchcraft and that kind of thing, kind of doing a ritual where you kind of invoke Aries himself to come through and support you is going to be very beneficial for you at this time. Well, that was really interesting. Yeah, Aries wants to hear from you. And even Aries, the god of war, is coming through and being like, yo, hit me up. I'm going to support you. If you're low on energy and stuff, write to me. I'm going to come through for you, especially tonight. So if you're feeling that you've been struggling to have energy to take action on your goals, write to Aries. Write to Aries, the god of war. Don't be afraid of that energy. It's coming through. And especially if you chose this crystal and or have Capricorn placements, 10 health placements, know that you are grounded enough that you will be able to stomach this fuel of energy that's going to come through for you. Because I'm telling you right now, if you write this letter tonight and stuff like that, and then burn it, or whatever your practices are, like let it sit, anoint a candle, whatever your practices are, it's really going to get heightened momentum eclipse season. So I'd say make sure you're comfortable with what you're writing, but at the same time, just on the specific cloud, know that you are grounded and anchored enough in your sense of self that you can start to wield this very strong fire energy, and that you'll be okay. It might get a little wild and turbulent, but you will be able to stomach it and handle it. Well, that's interesting. All right. So we are now moving to the 11th house, or Aquarius, or this beautiful, cute little lapis lazuli bead. So what I'm getting for this bead, and it's funny, I think it being a bead, kept rolling all over the place and stuff like that. So you might be feeling as though your energy's kind of been rolling all over the place. You might have been going to a lot of social functions lately and felt really scattered and stuff like that. So this full moon in Aries, interestingly enough, is coming through to just tell you to unwind and kind of rest and recharge. And it's interesting because the bead is kind of making me think of Mother Gaia. So like spending time out in nature, connecting with plants and animals, going for a hike if you can, is going to help kind of recenter your energy. So if you've kind of been feeling sprawled and all over the place and stuff like that, spending time in nature either later today, over the weekend, is going to help recenter you. Interesting. Okay, so I'm getting not a delayed message, but like an early message. So eclipse season, you're going to be getting downloads that are going to be coming through just for you in regards to what it is you should be doing, creating, leading, innovating, and stuff like that. So keep your mind out for eclipse season. I'll probably do a post about it at some point, or live, going into more detail about what that is and what we can anticipate and stuff like that. But yeah, specific downloads want to come through, and for some of you, a select few, maybe one or two of you, like galactic downloads are coming through. So it's like if you've been trying to connect with like your star family and that hasn't been working, you're going to kind of get downloads regarding that coming through. Either downloads regarding why you haven't been able to connect, or you're going to be able to connect. And yeah, that's kind of all I'm getting for this sphere. Yeah, and kind of just go with whatever comes your way. So if you get these big downloads, they don't make sense, follow through anyways. Because I'm kind of just seeing like a map, and it's like you're going to get like, you're not going to get the whole map. You're just going to have to trust that the download you get that takes you to point A, you're going to have to just get to point A, even if you can't see point B, C, D, etc. And then once you get to point A, you're going to be shown point B. And then just trust is what I'm really getting for this sphere. Even if it doesn't make sense and it sounds weird and like out there, trust. All right, so we're going to move into the final house, which is the 12th house, Pisces, or if you were drawn to this clear quartz crystal. So what I'm really getting for this placement is clarity coming through under this full moon. So if you've been feeling kind of mopey and maybe depressed or overwhelmed, clarity is coming your way. The clarity for some of you is going to come through tonight. Maybe one of you might experience a strong breakthrough. That's not really what I'm getting. More so the breakthroughs and like the aha and like the whole picture is going to come through during eclipse season. So just kind of keep doing your thing. You know, if things have been difficult and you're like, I don't know, struggling with either work or health or relationships and stuff like that, don't worry. Whatever it is you're going through that's been a struggle, it's going to resolve during eclipse season, is really what I'm getting. And for some of you, it's about paying attention to your dreams. So whatever wants to come through and stuff like that, especially if you've been looking for a specific answer to something, pay attention to your dreams. And it's about realizing that when it comes to dream interpretation, it's all about using your intuition also. You know, so you could go by all means, like I have dream dictionaries. Read descriptions if you feel called to reading them, but then use your intuition and let that guide you. You know, you might read a certain description about something and be like, actually, no, I feel it represents this instead. Trust that it is that's what it's meant to represent, right? Because like any symbolism, like it's subjective. So it's about you really tapping in, and if you're feeling a struggle when it comes to trusting your intuition and how you decipher and read things, maybe getting a piece of clear quartz might help. If you meditate, wearing it on your third eye might help. Going to bed, have a piece under your pillow might be supportive and stuff like that. And obviously getting a dream journal as well to record your dreams. And I'm getting, that's really interesting. For those of you that start recording your dreams like tonight and you do so until the end of eclipse season, you're going to see a pattern, which is really interesting. So for those of you that resonates and start this practice tonight, I would be very curious to know what that patterning is. It's going to be like a thread that's just going to be weaved through your different dreams, and you're going to kind of experience a big like aha moment at the end of eclipse season. So that's all I'm seeing in terms of messages for these lovely crystals, zodiac signs, house placements, etc. I hope that this was inspiring and supportive. I would love to know how you guys are feeling on this full moon and what's coming up for you, if anybody feels called to share. Otherwise, I'm just going to wrap up this live. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you so much to everyone that has joined. I hope you have a blessed full moon in Aries and that you release all the crap preventing you from taking that necessary action. Remember, you are a divine being. You are sovereign and you have a purpose. I love you.